left. Left. What I'm saying is that I just messed up, basically. But that's
The
basically
string
what
just
happened.
started.
Yo, LL Nation, what's up? We just gave you literally like
A good 5 minutes of preview, non-scene work.
yeah, 5 minutes of like content because this goofy forgot to hit the go live button.
That happens. It happens. It's the new
Played the
year. You know,
played
new
the
year, new
intro,
mistake.
everything, did the intro, ONORA boys in the building, all of that, look, all of that, and we're not even live. I was wondering why the comments weren't flowing today. It was my fault. But yes,
That's right.
left, it is look, I'll say it like this. Montez Sweat, Montez Sweat,
Was a good trade.
this is the problem.
He's
You
a
knew
hundred
you
million dollars.
you knew you didn't have a pass rusher all off season.
Yeah.
You waited until week 9 of the season to go trade for a pass rusher and cost your team 2 to 3 games because the defense couldn't hold 10-point leads in the fourth quarter. Why? Because you couldn't rush the pass. So this team possibly could have been in the playoffs.
Oh, you giving it that much credit?
They won 7 games.
Yeah, but Detroit won 12. That was pretty good for Detroit. Shout out to Detroit.
And shout out, got Ken Gibbs. He's happy. Yo, but no, LL Nation, we're going to talk about the All American Bowl. We're going to talk about the performances. We're going to talk about the top performances, the top players, things we like, we didn't like. We're going to talk about, great interview with NBC interviewing Bryant Young, talking about Bryce Young. Also, going to talk about our predictions for the championship game. And yeah, man, it is it's a great day. But left as always, man. You know what it is. What's smoking? What's smoking right here? And what's smoking is Notre Dame receives a commitment from one of the top 3 players in the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago in the 2025 class that is currently ranked number 1 on 2 recruiting services and number 3 on another. 12 commits right now in the 25 class in January. That's absolutely insane. And another commit possibly today from Ethan Long. And Notre Dame made his finalist list. So I kept saying while the 24 class was being accrued or the commits were accumulated in the 24 class, I was telling people the 25 class could end up being Marcus Freeman's best class just because of the vibe that was happening with those kids, the buzz that had the ringleader and Deuce Knight getting him to commit was absolutely humongous. Very similar to CJ Carr. And even though CJ Carr was the ringleader of the 24 class, Deuce Knight has a lot more cachet and a lot more personality for recruits to want to connect to. Not to say that CJ doesn't have personality, but Deuce is like a whole nother level. And recruits would tell you, the 24 recruits would tell you, like, man, when you get around Deuce, his personality is infectious. So,
And that's what we told you. I mean, CJ has all the acclaim fame, but Deuce Knight is the people's champ.
mhm.
And so I think both are effective. CJ is your standard routine quarterback. You can get behind it, whatever. He's a great face in the building, probably good teammate on the field. But Deuce Knight is the guy that's gonna cause attention on and off the field naturally. Like naturally, guys are gonna gravitate towards it, and he's him being committed in the way he is to the school. I think it brings a lot of good attention, and hopefully it's a narrative change once he gets to campus about recruiting, about quarterback development, and then for a guy like CJ to be there, kind of kickstarting that good feeling that this is going in the right direction. I think we're in the right place for this.
So let's get to it. Chris Burgess commits. Here's the backstory. You can go over the Irish breakdown. Ryan Roberts was there all week. In our conversations, Ryan Roberts pretty much told me that there was an early buzz for Ohio State early in the week. Brian Driscoll reported on the board that Notre Dame throughout the week, there was a combination of Marcus Freeman, Chad Bowden, Al Washington that made the calls and kind of swung things back to Notre Dame. When he originally announced that he was making his commitment on the 6th, Notre Dame was pretty much seen as the front runner. Something happened.
Like a Justin Scott front runner, or like an actual front runner, like we're in competition.
Kind of very similar. Stay right. Bookmark that, Left. Bookmark that. Because I'm gonna tell some people, like, Chicago is a different place, and you can't recruit Chicago like you recruit everybody else. You just can't. It's not going to happen. Because the football coaches, man, the basketball coaches in Chicago in recruiting
I
are
feel like way
legendary.
harder. I feel like it's way harder to recruit basketball than
Are
football.
legendary. But the football recruitment in Chicago and the coaches, yo, it's not too far off, Left. So the backstory
Really?
is, oh yeah, I'll get to it. So the backstory with Chris Burgess is Notre Dame did a fabulous job jumping on him early, unlike they did with the Chicago guys in the 24 class. They could have jumped on Lightfoot earlier. They could have jumped on Justin Scott earlier. I don't even want to delve into
Was
that.
Al Washington the lead on this though? Because remember, he didn't even damn near talk to Justin Scott last time.
Well, he didn't start talking to Justin Scott until like January of 24.
Yeah, that's way too late.
That's
Way
my
too
point.
late.
That's my point. But I digress. I don't even want to go in that direction. At the same time, they had already started getting on Chris Burgess Jr., right?
Right.
Which is very smart. They started on the next class very early. Chris Burgess Jr. at the same time, his mentor and his head coach, longtime Simeon coach, Dante Goldberg. Okay? So he played his junior year with an interim head coach. Simeon made overtures to Kenwood's head coach, Q Turner, who has a relationship with Mike Mickens. I want to add that as well. Mike Mickens has come to his practices pretty much every summer. He stopped by Kenwood.
Okay. So Mickens just been hanging around.
And he hasn't recruited any of his defensive backs, but he's shown up to the Kenwood practice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And just established a relationship. Now Q Turner, who played under Coach Scott, Al Scott, who's a legendary coach at Simeon, he took the Simeon job a month ago. He was also an assistant coach coaching the DBs on the West squad at the All-American game. So I want to set the tone. So now I spoke to Ryan Roberts all week, but I also had a conversation with Coach Dante Colbert, who was the mentor of Chris Burgess. I talked to him a couple of times last week. He was the one that alerted me that there were conversations being had during the week. And it basically was coming down to Notre Dame and the Big Ten schools. I said, okay. So Chris Burgess said he made up his mind. I think he said, if I'm not mistaken, in his interview, that it was Thursday night, like late Thursday night when he finally made a decision. I'm told that it went into like early Friday. So Notre Dame did a great job, man. They did the work. And that's what I want to tell you, man. If you're going to recruit kids from Chicago, you got to put in the work. Because other programs, especially in the Big Ten, are putting in the work.
Right. You was talking about Michigan putting in the work.
This is a little tidbit This is a little tidbit. Let me show you how much certain schools are putting in the work. There's a certain head coach of a Power 5 school that recently purchased a condo in Chicago. That's how much he's investing in recruiting the Chicago area.
Is it a guy from Wisconsin?
No. Go further south. Further south.
Oh, shit, it ain't that many. I mean, I couldn't imagine
Harbaugh
doing it.
My point is, Howard told you, right? Howard told you there's a special era of high school football happening right now in Chicago. When he was
okay, so talent is coming in at this time.
He told you, like, the talent is not like this all the time in Chicago, where it is now. High school and college coaches recognize this. IMG is here in Chicago all the time, dog.
Really?
California schools are here like crazy trying to get kids to transfer. It's almost like the run when Chicago had Sharon Collins, Will Bynum, Derrick Rose, Jabari Parker.
That was 2013 to 2010 era.
It was like a 4 or 5 year era where it was like, dude, the talent coming out of the city is bananas. It's like that in football now, right? Talk about Andre Brown Jr. out of Marist, sophomore wide receiver, 6'5", 205 pounds. He has, I think Miami's offered him, Wisconsin's offered him, Illinois offered him in football. Illinois offered him in basketball. Wisconsin offered him in basketball. Notre Dame has offered him in basketball. Like, this is the type of kid that's coming. And he's just a sophomore. Like, this is his summer to pop and get on a national scale. So this is the type of talent that Howard Griffin was talking about. So it's very important that Notre Dame understands that there are other programs putting in a lot of work and making a lot of investment in the city of Chicago over the next 2 to 3 years because of the talent and the talent pool that's there. It's pretty special. But Chris Burgess, getting back to him so we can seal this up and move on, Left. I talked to Ryan Roberts, and I know my boy Double R was talking about, man, the way the decision was going. It's like, man, it seems like, man, I don't know. He's a Chicago kid. Yes. Notre Dame is going to have to stay on him, dude. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to have to continue to recruit him. He's a Chicago kid, dude. Chicago kids need a lot of love. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't. Chicago kids need a lot of love when it comes to recruiting. They just do. It is what it is. There's nothing else I can tell you. So yes, he's locked in, but I don't think, see, this is the situation, and this is why he made the decision. You say, why is a kid in the 25 class making a decision at the All-American Bowl in 2024? Him and his family wanted to get the process over.
Oh, that's right, because juniors can play in the game now, huh?
I don't know that. I don't know that to be true. I can't sit here and say yes or no because I don't know that.
Usually they let like the top juniors like be there, maybe practice with them, but I didn't know they was in the game. No, that's pretty cool. I mean, I think it's a little lazy because that's the same thing as I feel like the Senior Bowl should be for the seniors.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Let that just be for the guys.
The family, this is what I have gathered. His mentor and longtime coach is no longer his coach. He has no relationship with the new coach, Q Turner, that's going to be coaching him for his senior year. If you don't have a relationship with that coach, do you really want him to be involved with your recruiting? Because Coach Goldberg was still very much involved with his recruiting, even though he didn't coach this year. So I don't think the family or Chris Burgess Jr. want to carry the recruitment into his senior year and to have another coach be involved with the recruitment. It's a lot of moving chairs here with Simeon and Chris Burgess, right? So they wanted to make a decision early and get things over with because of that. That played a
So
part.
when has Simeon been a football school? Is it because I thought it was always basketball?
And see, that's you don't live here. That's for you. It's a misconception.
I mean, like, do y'all winning championships in football too?
Simeon's always been one of the top programs in the city and in the state. Always. They've always put athletes in the Power Five program. For like the last 20, people don't understand Morgan Park, the school I went to, has a long history of football, going back to when I was there, Coach Vocat. Is it on the same level as CCL, the St. Ignatius, the Mount Carmel, the Brother Rice,
The
the
Loyolas.
Loyola Academy? No. First of all, because they don't have the funding. And they
That's all
don't
high
have
school sports come down to.
and they don't have 30 coaches on the sideline. You go to a Mount
All
Carmel
these
game, bro,
private schools got a whole bunch of coaches.
dude, they got like 30 coaches standing on
30
the sideline.
coaches.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty.
it's ridiculous. So, I mean, it is the city broke through and things have changed over the last 7 years left where the city schools have become far more competitive with the Catholic League and also the suburban schools. And that's because an investment has been made at the Pop Warner level.
Oh yeah, the donors be down at the booster and PB games.
No, it was actually the coalition of public school coaches that got together and said we're going to form leagues in these
Yeah, because they
areas.
tired of getting poached on.
Exactly. They're tired of Mark Carmel coming to get all the best players. They're tired of Brother Rice coming to get all the best players. Because if you want to play football traditionally, yeah, you go to a Catholic school in Chicago, right?
Basically, yeah.
Donovan McNabb should have been playing at Thornridge High School instead of playing in Mount Carmel.
Oh, he went to Mount Carmel. Oh, I keep thinking of the Indiana Mount Carmel.
No. So, I mean, those are the Simeon Rice probably should have played at Morgan Park or Simeon instead of going to Mount Carmel. So, man, that's Chicago. It is what it is. But to seal the deal on Chris Burgess, once again, great commitment. It means a lot. It means a lot. That's all I'm going to say. With all the flags that have been planted over the last 3 years by every other program in the Big Ten, it means a lot that Notre Dame got this kid. And it means a lot that Notre Dame was in on a lot of 24 kids in Chicago. Darian Dupree was at the junior day. He eventually went on to Wisconsin. Like, there are a lot of players in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area, that they were on. They got Cam Williams in the 24 class. They got the Hulock kid coming from the Chicagoland area in the 25 class. So they've done a really good job, bro. They really have. Recovering from the disappointment of 24, they lost out on some big kids. That goes without saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just in case people missed, what Howard Griffith said when he was on with us, this is what he had to say on the Lucky Lefty podcast about the importance of the Chicago area in the next few years coming. The next years coming.
Guys, and it is no doubt about it. I mean, it's not every year that I think the state of Illinois or the Chicago area has players like they've had this last couple of years that Notre Dame should always be in on. And you're right. They may not win, but they need to be number 2. They got to be they've got to do a great job of recruiting the city of Chicago, because when it does come up and that special player is here, you can always say, well, we've been here the whole time. We've been here. We've been recruiting. We're spending time at your winter workouts, even though there's no one on your roster that we are looking right now to recruit, because you never know when that next one is coming. But that comes down to due diligence and connections and just being involved. And I don't know the inner workings of what ND is doing here in the Chicago area, but it's like you guys were talking about, when you have special players in the state of Illinois, particularly Chicago and the surrounding suburbs, man, if Illinois, if I wish Illinois was the first choice, but if Notre Dame's not their first choice, they got to be number 2 when they're recruiting.
And I totally agree with them, bro. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for Notre Dame not to be in the top 2 for every top kid that comes out of Chicago. It's just no excuse. There's no excuse, right?
Too close.
And even if Justin Scott and Marquise Lightfoot didn't go to Notre Dame, I can't even say they were number 2. That's the disappointment. Not that they chose to both go to Miami. It's the fact that Notre Dame wasn't even number 2 at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's the issue. And once again, kudos to Mike Mickens.
We number 2 in Africa, number 2 in the Ukraine, number 2 in international recruiting.
Dre Brown, man, stop being petty, man.
I'm just saying, we number 2
Dre
in
Brown,
the international world front.
Yeah, Dre Brown is he's on Notre Dame staff. People in the public schools know Dre Brown.
Right.
Mike Mickens just literally every summer drives up and attends Kenwood Academy's practice. Never off. He's just his presence. He's just there. He's building a relationship with Q Turner. They have a relationship. They
So
both
the key is to have the relationship with these legacy coaches.
That left. This is Chicago. Whether it's basketball or football, you get in with the coach. The majority of the time, you get the kid.
Now, do you think is the market is like? Would there be a Deion Sanders factor? Like if Deion Sanders was heavily recruiting Chicago, would it?
Deion wouldn't push.
No, I'm just saying that level of fame as a coach, like Marcus Freeman.
Marcus Freeman can impress them. That doesn't impress them. That doesn't impress
Marcus
them.
Freeman ain't impressing anybody over there.
No. I didn't say that. Marcus Freeman had an immediate impact on Justin Scott. Immediate.
Right. Okay.
And after that, it was back to regular Chicago business.
Oh, it was like, a flash. And then it was like,
And then it was back to regular Chicago business. Chicago is just different, man. When it comes to recruiting, Chicago is just a different city. That's all I can tell you. And if you're not willing to do the most for Chicago recruits, I'm speaking specifically now to kids from the public school.
Right.
Now, if you go to the suburbs, the Cam Williams of the world, but if you're recruiting kids that come from the South Side, come from the West Side, go to a Catholic school in the city or either a public school in the city, yeah, bro. You're going to have to get in with that coach, have a relationship with that coach. If you don't have a relationship with that coach, you have no shot. None. Build a relationship with that coach.
You said no shot?
No shot.
Damn.
Dude, we're talking about the city of Landon Cox. Do you want the rundown of the legendary coaches in this city in football and basketball that have had shoe deals and all? Man, dude, there's a Nike swoosh out front and a LeBron James logo in the front of Simeon, bro. Understand.
He said a LeBron James logo.
Simeon is a Nike LeBron James school, bro.
LeBron got schools?
This is what I'm saying, Left. Chicago's different. You're not walking up into Simeon and pressing them, dude. They've been rocking LeBrons and KDs and stuff. They get boxes of shoes when they freshmen.
Okay. So they got like a little college program over there. Like
you're not impressing them, Left. That's what I'm saying. You're going to have to do the most for kids. That's why they Notre Dame. I don't know. It comes across like Notre Dame knew they had him, felt like they had him. They sat on their laurels when he started to say he had a decision coming. And Ohio State and Michigan came on strong. Hey, Michigan was is winning playoff games. That speaks for itself. And on top of the fact that Michigan has had recent success in the Chicagoland area. It speaks for itself, man. And Notre Dame did a fantastic job. Chad Bowden, Al Washington, Marcus Freeman, kudos, getting them back in the fold, fighting to the end, and doing the most. Whatever
But
the
it
pitch
goes back
was,
to Notre Dame. It's like Chicago, in my opinion. I feel like they want Notre Dame to be top one, top two in the area. We just play hard to
bro,
get or something. I don't know.
bro. This is a Catholic. This is a Catholic city, bro.
Yeah,
This is a Catholic city at the heart. Yes. Kids grow up watching Notre Dame. Their parents grew up watching Notre Dame every Saturday. Yes.
I agree.
Now, this is a huge Big Ten implant city, though. You
No, yeah,
literally have,
they got Big Ten Media Day in Chicago.
and they have, dude, Chicago literally has a Big Ten bar for every team in the Big Ten.
Right, and Big Ten headquarters is in Chicago.
Yeah,
So
yes.
like
So you
that's
have
like
to
the
fight,
central meeting
dude.
place.
It's too much. It's too many other presence. It's too many other schools with a presence in Chicago not to fight. You have to know. You have to fight for these kids, man. They're not impressed just because of your name. They're not. Kids here, especially in basketball, they are stars by the time they hit 8th grade in Chicago. This is a basketball city, bro. We know every 7th and 8th grader that's cold. If you know anything about basketball, you know every 7th and 8th grader in the city of Chicago that's cold right now. They're stars now. Namari Burnett, that's playing for Michigan right now in 7th grade, was on TV.
Yeah, Marvin Burnett, yeah, he's all American, all that.
So this is what I'm talking. Chicago's just a different beast in recruiting, man. And if you're not willing to stay on top of kids and do the most and to be present and to always come up to the city, then that's fine. You don't understand what it takes to recruit the city. This is what it is, man. This is what you have to do for Chicago kids. You like it, fine. You think it's too much, that's fine. But if you want the kids, Taylor
You said they done bought a condo in Chicago.
bro, look, Taylor, first of all, Taylor's mom, shout out to his mom, Venus Taylor. She's very involved with his recruiting, very smart, very smart. Taylor, once again, it's not a kid that you can just, you got to build a relationship. Coaches, family, be truthful, be honest, and stay on the kid, man. I just told you, there's a school that's on Taylor, whose head coach purchased a condo in Chicago. Why do you think he did that? Do you think he did that not to get Taylor?
Right.
And other players coming?
That fits in that outlandish category of what you got to do to get players.
That's where look, I say Andre Brown Jr. His father played for Miami, bro. But Miami already has the upper hand. You already know this. You don't have to fight for that kid if you want him. His mom, powerful business owner, independent man, very well known Black woman in the city of Chicago in the area of marketing and business. Very powerful. She's all about education. You got to tap in with her, bro. You got to sell her on Notre Dame because he's a mama's boy. I'm giving you the tidbits now. I'm telling you, his dad played for Miami, but his mom is a mama's boy. She's about business and she's about education. If you're going to recruit this kid, whoever recruits this kid, because Notre Dame hasn't offered him in football. If you're going to recruit that kid, you better tap into his mom.
We number one in moms, so we should be all right.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why Chris Burgess came and committed to Notre Dame, because the family loves Notre Dame. The mom loves Notre Dame.
Easy win right there. Easy win.
And that's it, man. That's it. It is what it is. So, shout out to that kid, man. It was a tough decision, though. But I think what worked in Notre Dame's favor, because if this had played out throughout his senior season, I don't know where it would have gone, Left. I just I don't. I don't know where it would have gone. And that's just being honest. So the quicker decision helped Notre Dame, in my opinion. The quicker decision came because of the coaching changes that happened at Simeon. CQ Turner told me flat out, like, dude, I really don't have a relationship with him. I'm using time down here in San Antonio to get to know him, but I'm not discussing his decision with him and his parents because I haven't been part of the process. So I'm not about to insert myself into the process. He said that would be disingenuous. And so he said, yo, I just spent time getting to know the kid because I have to coach him for his senior year. So that's the background on Chris Burgess. Ethan Long makes his decision tonight. I said Chris O'Leary is having his best cycle of recruiting, in my opinion. Ethan Long would be a fantastic get. Lilo Galante, man, you hit it on the head, dude. Brian Kelly screwed up when it came to Carnell Tate's mom. Rest in heaven, sweet angel. And Al Washington definitely messed up when it came to Justin Scott's mom.
We definitely take the win some, lose some approach at Notre Dame recruiting. You know, things that it's almost as if we can't get it the easy way,
Yeah.
then it's like, no harm, no foul. He just didn't want to be here. But in 2024, especially with the kind of recruiting we have today,
Mm-hmm.
it's very critical that you're more proactive on these recruits. I mean, the NIL is getting, you know, ridiculous, and just
Mm-hmm.
the parents, even the parents are getting ridiculous. You just from the expectations of and the weight of what these recruits mean to college football these days.
Yeah. Can I give you now? We switch over to the All American Bowl. Um, the bloom is coming off the rose a little bit with the Under Armour and the All American Bowl, in my opinion. And the reason is, and
You said
and
the bloom of it.
yeah, it's not as good as it used to be. It's just not
In terms of the quality of game or the quality of stars in the game.
quality of the game, quality of the game. And I think because I don't think the best quarterbacks always end up at those games. I think
Well,
there are some really good
it makes the
quarterbacks that choose
entire
not to
difference
go.
though,
Yeah, it does. I agree.
because if you don't get the quarterback, then it's just a game of the meanest D end of the in the country tearing up an offensive line that has worked 5-6 days together. So
Hmm.
it's just like what we're looking at. So it's either the people that gonna shine are the D ends or the running backs or the one or two receivers that catch a jump ball. I think all American games should be at least a month,
Hmm.
get a real game out of it. But half of it, like the Army game used to be a real game. Like they had like two of
Right.
days, like they was not taking it easy. But this whole player safety stuff has watered down these all-star games in general and just made like a almost like a just a have to do list instead of it meaning something. But hell, when I was doing all American games, them games mean something. I mean, that's when the games are at
Yeah,
its
that's
peak.
what I mean. I think you can definitely see. And Brian Roberts, I was talking to him all week. He was like, "Yeah, these quarterbacks ain't it." You know what I'm saying? And that
Because
the
the
court.
problem is all of them are like robots. It's
Mm,
like the difference between my age of quarterbacks and these quarterbacks now is that I used to go out there and just practice by myself. Nowadays, these kids can't work out unless they got a trainer, unless they got some super high profile dude in their ear coaching them on everything. So whenever that happens, you get a repeat robot process of everybody looks the same and nobody has the free will or the in game. I don't even know how you call it. In game pace. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's so used to doing these damn cone drills and throwing all these ridiculous it's like the basketball debate. These IG basketball trainers with these crazy drills that don't translate.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing for football. The key to being really good at quarterback, especially when you're training, is to take reps throwing the football routes. Like Devontae Adams says, all these cone drills at receivers and stuff that don't do nothing. You run an out route 500 times, that's what's going to get you better for in-game experience. So when I was out there, I was just throwing to my receivers every day, every day. Now you go to these trainers, you got 30 minutes of guys out there warming up, 30 minutes of throwing to a dude standing still. You do 1,500 cone drills, ladder drills, bag drills, and they don't translate because then it turns into a popularity contest. Back in
Mm-hmm.
the day, dudes used to hang out at the mall, hang out at the skate arena. Now dudes hang out in these workout groups. It'd be 20 quarterbacks in one session. You probably get 10 throws all day. But you hanging with all the quote unquote high profile guys. So you see it just becomes a social club. You might as well go to the gathering spot. One of these high profile socialite type clubs, because it takes away from the essence of just working. So when you get into these all-star games, you can't tell the difference between none of these quarterbacks because they all look the same. Now I did think my dog, Damon Williams, stood out, and that's because I trained him since he was been in sixth grade.
Yo, that's a quick little dude.
Yeah, he always been a quick little dude, and now to see him be an All-American, win a state title, become the kid that I remember, growing up, he was always working hard. Now he's a little different, but all the rest of these quarterbacks, they damn near had the same name. They just look too much alike. There's no originality or craft that you can notice in anybody's game, and it makes the difference. Definitely makes a difference.
Lucky Lefty podcast. So I just want to go over the Notre Dame guys first. KVA was absolutely amazing early, getting into the backfield, consistently making plays. The one thing Ryan Roberts said, which is something, it's so funny because Left, I remember you said this when he was being recruited and people were hating on you, Left. They were like, you're a hater. The first thing you said was like, yo, we played against him. I saw him. I expected him to be much bigger than what he is. That
Who
was the first
KBA?
thing that was the first thing you said.
Yeah,
You were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yo,
He's like that. He's not. Yeah, like
he's
you.
not
Yeah.
that big. Ryan Roberts.
When you see football players, you would be like, oh, he's like not the non-football player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Ryan Roberts hit me up and he was like, yo, I thought KVA would be bigger. He said the
I
exact
told
same thing.
you,
He said the exact same thing. And people telling you that you were a hater. And I'm like,
you'll
yo,
miss him.
he's
You'll
coached against the kid.
Yeah. And the crazy part is because he was at Bosco, you got all of them dudes as D1 linebackers, and he didn't look like the D1 linebacker out of the D1 linebackers. But he was good, he's a good football player, all that. But yeah, like I think the internet does a great job of building some of these kids up. And I think that's what I was built off because I was like, we got a Bosco commit, that's a linebacker. And I'm like, I just seen these dudes. I'm trying to think which one was it because all the ones I was talking to was committed. all, all the ones I seen, I didn't see him. Pepe Wood and all them the linebacker go to Ole Miss. He's like the number one dude. So I'm talking to all these dudes trying to get him to come to my school, and I'm passing by KVA. So then we get him to commit. And I'm watching him. Like, okay, he can play, but he wasn't the eye test standout that you would look at like a Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith stand out. You see that brother one time, you're like, oh yeah, we better instantly.
Right.
I
Well,
feel like some of these guys.
He's going to be able to add to his frame.
Yeah. That's what you want. Not every guy's gonna come in looking like a Drake Bowen, Jaden Alsbury, where you like, damn, you 225 ready to play today.
Already, yeah. He's not
we
that.
get to the weight room.
I think that's what was shocking to Ryan Roberts in person. Like, yo, I thought he was bigger. But his athletic ability is undeniable. It's flat out.
He got
undeniable.
one of them Jeremiah Wusu skill sets. Jeremiah Wusu looked like a common guy. But then that brother got an African strain. The
Mm-hmm.
brother got good instinct. He a real good player. So maybe he does turn out for us. I just hope he's not a copy and paste of a Marist, copy and paste of
No, I
you
don't
know
think he's that.
a
I don't
Michael
think he's that.
B. We want him to be. Uh, I just think unique in a defense where he could be the Kyle Hamilton version at linebacker, that hybrid fly around a Lohi Gilman type of skill set, but as a linebacker. I hope that's what he turns out to be. Because Lohi, when he first came in, he could hit. That was his thing. He could hit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Keidron Young, man, flat out during the practices, everything you hear is that this dude is like day one. Like you can play this kid day one. He's ready to go. He wasn't the only running back. I think the wide receiving core or the wide receivers in this game, all man, I'm like, yo, Clemson got a dude. That cat TJ Moore, he's a dude. Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Day has one.
I
Another
like
one.
Jeremiah Smith. That brother looked like a
He's a
dude.
dude. Well, yeah, Keidron Young, Chauncey Bowens from Georgia, James Peoples going to Ohio State. All three of those dudes. All three of those dudes are cold. All three of them are cold. Right? Bryce Young had a really good week. Bryce Young was the guy that I think consistently in stories came across as, yo, this is a guy I didn't expect much from this week, and this dude just shocked me.
He
That
didn't
was the
shock you.
time.
He's the definition of having a dad that's an NFL legend.
Mm-hmm.
Because he already knows that's how you identify him so fast in a group amongst a bunch of non-NFL dad players.
Yeah.
Because when you get into these All-American camps, now he's whipping out them moves that his dad taught him. Them
Facts.
consistent, stable moves that it don't gotta be flashy, but he's winning reps.
Yeah.
He ain't going out there all extra dramatic with the move. He's polished. It's straightforward. Stuff that all those guys at the All American camp are gonna learn when they get to college, get to NFL kind of thing. Brian Young got all the stuff he need to know to look impressive. It's the same thing of having the roadmap before everybody else. He got the roadmap.
Yeah.
Just imagine you about to go to an All American camp. You nervous. Everybody talking about all these other guys, and your dad's number one pick in the draft. He just tell you, all right, this is what you're gonna need to take to get up there.
Yeah.
This the roadmap. All these other dudes ain't got the roadmap. So even if you ain't the most talented, you're gonna know more. You're gonna have more in your bag.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it is that those kids are always consistent. They may not be the 100, but they'll give you 85, 90, 9 times out of 10.
I agree. Lucky Lefty podcast. So let's say I talked about TJ Moore, Jeremiah Smith. The wide receivers really dominated, dude. And then the kid to me that I just came away like, I don't know how Notre Dame didn't recruit this kid. Like, let me go back and because this kid, Coy Parrish, bro, that's going to Minnesota at safety. The kid just made plays all day. You see this kid like, man, this kid can play at Notre Dame. It was just interesting to watch. Safety Aaron Flowers going to Oregon, and then Zay Mincy, the defensive back for Alabama, he had a fantastic game. Marquise Lightfoot out of Chicago had a fantastic week, bro. His first step quickness, and it's funny because myself and then Xavier Brown, the other DB that's going to Alabama. But to close it out with Marquise Lightfoot, man, I remember when Notre Dame first got on him. And remember, I told you when I talked to Marquise and Justin at the same time, Notre Dame was actually contacting Marquise on a weekly basis, and they were talking to Justin like a little bit here and a little bit there. And I'm talking about this is like January of 2023.
That's right.
And Ryan Roberts and I had a conversation this weekend, and we both said we think because Notre Dame basically thought that they had other guys off the edge that were better, or that's the way they felt, like Logan Thomas and some other guys. That's fine and dandy. And like one of the things that I like, because I don't know who does the editing in Chicago, for Chicago public school kids, but they're terrible.
You
They're
don't know who does
terrible.
the editing?
Yes, whoever puts their huddle videos together is terrible. They're terrible.
They usually have a person in the school that do it.
They're terrible. They're terrible. And I told, because me and Brian Driscoll used to go back and forth about Marquise Lightfoot. And he was like, yeah, I just, man, I don't see
He
it.
don't
I'm
like
like,
his tape. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you got to watch him in person. I'm like, come watch him in person. The tape is not going to tell you the story. Come watch this kid in person. And
See, I don't know, Sean. Unless the edit is really bad, the tape
bro,
you
I'm
don't.
telling you the edit is bad. First of all, you don't even know why are you putting special teams plays on this dude's tape as a defensive
Wait, he
end?
put special teams plays.
Thank you.
You only do that for a guy that's a 3-star that you try 2-star. You try to show value, like the man can do.
Thank you. My point is
special teams with you get thrown on as extra bonus points. It's like, oh, you want to play special team? Yeah, go run down there. You know, you usually guys will have a race to see who fits in the, who gets down there the fastest. It ain't even know.
This is my point. I'm gonna close with this. The
special
resources.
teams, is he playing gunner? The only way I'm putting special teams field on there is if he's playing gunner and he's running down, making the tackle first person on it. That's the only way I'm putting on tape for a defensive end.
Left, we got to get out of here, man. We think we just want to go over the recruiting. We might come back later on tonight. This is just an example, Left. Just an example. I'm gonna show Chris Burgess. Look at this film, dog. Left, look at this editing, dude. What? Left.
What is this, a scrimmage?
Dude, it looks like a scrimmage. It looks like practice film. I'm telling you, just the resources, man, is bad. Compare this to the film you see from Cam Williams, the Hulock kid, other kids from the suburbs, or for like Mount Carmel. It's just, dude, the play selection, everything, dude.
Now this is a damn shame. All them music videos they done shot right outside his house, probably, and all the graphics and animations they got in these music videos, and you come up with this 2005 dad shot your highlight tape on VCR, and you had to go and cut it up, stay that way.
Thank you.
The iPhone got a better camera. The iPhone got a better camera right now.
That's why I told everybody, like, you have to come watch him play. If you go off film,
even the cuts between plays is crazy because they got him huddling back up. Like, what? If you don't jump to the, they got him breaking out the huddle and
Left. This is what I'm saying, Left.
Getting a shot of water.
Dude, they got sophomores and juniors at Simeon cutting these tapes. I am convinced.
Oh man,
I am convinced, and I kept telling everybody, like, well, man, I don't see it. Like, okay, come watch him play. And then I'm getting texts during the game on Saturday, like, yo, like I told you, like, this should not be shocking to anybody. I told you this kid was quick off the edge. I told you had to see him in person. And Ryan Roberts hit me like, yo, I think passing on him might have been a mistake. You think? You know, Keydron Young, Bryce Young had a great week, though. Great week. Man, flash for everybody down there. And then Cam Williams did not participate. Minor nag, minor injury. Shut him down. That's it. Lucky Lefty podcast. Ryan Loftus, thank you for the GTB. What do you guys think of the Miami police response? Is there ETs out there? I'm gonna leave that alone. We'll say
my
that.
response is: can any of them put their hand in the dirt and play D tackle? Because they said it was 8 to 10 feet tall. We can use that at D tackle.
We can use that. Hey, we'll get back with you guys later this evening, man. We want to tap in with the recruiting. Lucky Lefty podcast. Ethan Long will come back with his possible commitment to Notre Dame and dig in a little bit more. Lucky Lucky Podcast. Have a great day. Continue to spin it different.